Going live. There we go. You are live.
Lekker. Awesome. Probably got like 2 people watching, if we're lucky. Not even.
Yeah, I don't even know if we'll even get one person that'll watch. But hey, let's see.
Yes, yeah. There we go. I've just got the notification. Reactionary opinions, first ever live stream. So that's great.
Trying to figure out this whole live streaming story and all of that. So yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll just sort of wing it, and we'll be like Ronaldo and say, "Kom ons praat kak." Hey.
Yeah, no, this is all. Well, look, like I say, these live streams apparently must be where it's at, because the guys are having them left, right, and center. I'm actually thinking of turning my bell notifications off. Guys like Ronaldo and Roman and what have you, and Germ, because it's ping, ping. It's another live stream. It's another live stream. You know, and you go there, and it's like they're talking nothing new there. They just like want to talk to their friends or to their fans. You know.
I mean, that's what happens when you have a large following and you don't have a whopping 91 subscribers. You know.
Hey, we've grown. We've added about 20 subscribers in the last 10 days. Man, it's a record.
Yeah, well, bottle stores are open these days, Russell. So time for a celebration, I guess.
No. I still haven't gone to the bottle store yet.
No, myself either. I'm not really too fussed with going to the liquor stores.
No.
Not at all.
Apparently, Joe told me, my neighbor Joe told me that the bottle store around the corner from us, Old Tony's, cleaned out, no beers or ciders or anything.
Yeah, well,
only thing that was left was wine and a bit of hardtack. You know, the more expensive hardtack, like the expensive whiskeys and what have you. That's it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it goes. It's you know, Oaks have been waiting for this wine and this beer and stuff, bro. I think I'm pretty much the only oak in the whole of South Africa that's not drunk tonight. I guess me and you. I guess there's a few others.
Nah, you know, I mean, like I say, once you've had it hasn't been available for a couple of months. You can take a break for a while. I think probably what people are worried about is that while the shops are open, they want to go and clean it all out, so that if the government changes its mind again, they've got their stockpile.
Yeah, it is pretty much that. I think that's definitely it. It's kind of like the Oaks with the toilet paper and the cigarette story when they originally, you know, locked us down. Oaks bought cigarettes, but you know, it's interesting is that, you know, you talk to people and stuff, and they say things like, you know, well, I just bought enough cigarettes for the 21 days, and I'm like, dude, like there's no chance that the government would have locked us down for 21 days only. It's just ridiculous. ANC has a raging hard on for lockdown. They're so happy now. I don't think they've ever been this happy in their lives.
Yeah, did you actually? I mean, the thing is, this whole thing, like that all this data analysis that they're doing, and the way they're reporting in the media is all false. I mean, there is absolutely no ways, if you watch the media and how they're reporting it, and if you look at the actual data that's being released by the Western Cape Health Department, there is no ways that they're going to get to the deaths that they claim they're going to get to. No freaking ways. I mean, I sent you my spreadsheet with my maths project, right?
Yeah, look, I don't think any of the numbers anywhere in the whole entire world have been right at all. I mean, they've all been wrong.
You mean the predictions? The predictions.
Yeah, the predictions, the numbers, and the models.
Drastically wrong. Way off.
All been horribly wrong.
But I mean, the thing is, there's guys out there fear mongering like you won't believe. It is absolutely amazing. You know, I mean, Dunoon Township, just right here by us, Scott, right near us, 10 k's away from here, 7-8 k's away from here. There's no social distancing going on there. It's got probably a population of about 12,000 people, And as at about 10 days ago, it only had about 150 cases.
Yeah, and the virus
What?
itself is petering out anyway. So that
Yeah,
even,
well, absolutely.
the idea of
Absolutely.
that the townships and stuff who clearly haven't been, locking down or not because they don't want to, but because it's just impossible for them to do
Impossible, yeah. No,
Um,
look, absolutely.
they are, I mean, that their numbers are so low. That's just a testament to things like even social distancing does nothing. You know what I mean? It's
Exactly. This is my thing. That's exactly my thinking. I'm thinking to myself, what are we doing? Let's open the restaurants. Let's open the airways. Let's open the airports. Let's open the churches. Let's open and get on with things, And I get the feeling more and more that it's just basically these politicians that are too afraid to be wrong. They can see that they're wrong, but they're doubling down because they don't want to end up with egg on their face. They're trying to save face. And then when the data doesn't come back with the deaths that they have, all right, or that they predicted, they'll say, "Look how well our measures worked."
yeah,
That's what's going to happen.
But it's also I think Roman was talking about it earlier on in his show today about class suicide, where basically what they're trying to do is I don't know what's class suicide, because it's basically something that they're aware of and they've done nothing about it. I guess that might be the suicide part, but on the ANC's part, I think it's just class murder, where essentially they are bankrupting middle class families through their businesses and stuff, and destroying those businesses, so that the government can, again, like you said, swoop in and come and buy out businesses and end up owning the entire economy. And that's
there's a guy. Strange enough that you say that, Scott. There's a guy that I've been following for years on YouTube. He's a markets guy. So every morning he gives a markets morning and
Gregory
evening.
Mannarino.
Gregory Mannarino, yes, great guy.
Yeah,
He's a great guy. But he basically says central banks, all right, with the amount of money printing that they're doing, all right. He says in the States, he says they're offering bailouts to every single little thing. So basically, it's the central banks are bailing out the airlines, the Boeing, the airline manufacturers, the airlines, the energy companies, like your shale drillers and all that sort of thing, and all the junk. They're buying up all these shale industries junk bonds left, right, and center, so that essentially the US Fed essentially owns the whole of the US economy, because they're printing so much blimmin' money, trillions and trillions in the last year or so.
But Russell,
and he says basically.
But Russell, my free markets, my man. My United States free markets,
There's no, like Mannarino says, there is no free market. He says basically, he calls it political and economic fascism that's going on,
Yeah. Well, the thing is,
and
anyone who believes this whole, capitalism montage, or this whole free markets nonsense and stuff is absolutely delusional. There's never been free markets. What are you on about? There's no such thing as free markets and stuff. There's always going to be the oak that gets the leg over the other one and that sort of thing. And hey, if that happens,
well, particularly these days, Scott, there can't be free. There's a couple of things, in today's internationalized or globalized world, you can't actually. One of the things, if you really want to be strict about free markets, you cannot have free markets without the free movement of people. Because you've got these international corporations, okay, that own operations all over the world. Okay, now if they're allowed to move their capital around freely, all right, their movement of financial capital around freely, why aren't people who are also capital allowed to move around freely?
Yeah. But I mean,
and I look, and another thing is if central banks can print money like they do, all right, that shows you that there's absolutely no risks. Basically, these companies are allowed to do as they please. It's no longer free markets. If you know that you're just going to get a big bailout and you're a big corporation, you're going to get a bailout, what risks do you need to take? What risks do you need to manage? So free markets is always about managing risk, And if central banks are going to keep interest rates far too low for too long, or even in the first world they got them basically at zero forever, then people can borrow money without risk. You get what I'm saying? And that's dangerous. That's not any type of free market. If people can borrow money at zero risk, okay, because there's no interest to it on it, then what type of free market is that if you're not managing risks? Just simple.
Yeah, I don't know. I think what gets me is it's this whole, it's either communism or it's capitalism, and both I think are equally, well, not quite equally. I mean, let's not beat around the bush over here. Capitalism does create a lot more wealth than communism. It does, create a middle class and all of that. It's not quite.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, we're like what Mannarino says. Mannarino says we're moving more towards fascism, where all the big multi-corporations are essentially state-owned because they're either bailed out by the government or by the US Fed indirectly. So they essentially nationalized the mega corporations.
Yeah, no, they're 100% nationalized. I mean, like for example,
but I mean, the thing is, the mega corporations are nationalized, so they don't need to. They've got monopolistic markets. They don't need to take risks because the amount of money that they've borrowed is at zero risk anyway. And basically, there's that. Once the mega side of the economy is nationalized, but within that nationalization, you've got lots of private property. So individuals and small players can still own buildings and houses and businesses and all that sort of thing within that framework. But the big mega corporations are essentially nationalized. That is fascism.
So it's like the same as everyone's ranting and raving about Elon Musk at the moment. About him being this amazing spaceman hero guy who individualism, one guy did it all kind of thing. I did it, you didn't do it kind of thing, And the idea that SpaceX, it's just, I don't know. I just can't understand it, how people rant and rave about SpaceX when before 2011 they could barely even build a freaking Roman candle, until NASA came and gave them a massive bailout and made them their bitch. And now all of a sudden SpaceX is some amazing private company run by private individuals, funded privately and all that bullshit, man. It's not funded privately, man, my ass. It's been bailed out by the state so many times. And hello, NASA. What is NASA? NASA is a government organization. Okay, it's run by the government and owned by the government and funded by you, the taxpayer. So this idea that SpaceX was some weird, feat of capitalism kind of thing is just utterly, dumb.
Yeah, it's a bit of an exaggeration there. Yeah. But like with what I said, this whole worldwide COVID thing is actually allowed things like central banks and that sort of thing to essentially capitalize on lower asset prices and buy them up and nationalize them. Either the governments directly are bailing them out, or they're bailing them out via the central banks.
Yeah,
one of the two. And people say that no, but the US Fed is a private organization. Well, sort of. It is. It's owned. It's like the South African Reserve Bank. People think the South African Reserve Bank is private just because it has private shareholders, but the reality is, it's not, with my understanding of how a central bank works, it's not about who owns the thing. Who owns it is a red herring. It's who controls it and who influences it and what its policies are and who gives those policies. That's the most important. It's not about ownership, it's about control. Now there's issues around ownership and control, what it actually is. You can still with a something like a central bank, you can still have, even though you don't own it, you can still control it. It's like in South Africa. The South African Reserve Bank is owned by shareholders, but it's definitely controlled by the law and by the politicians.
Like this book, hey Russell.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, where'd you get that?
I wonder where, huh?
Did you get it from me? I was looking for that book the other day.
Yeah, I still have it. Yeah, I have this one and then the other one, The History of Central Banking.
Old Mitford Goodson, he says that banks must just you mustn't have a central bank. There must just be a politically controlled bank that lends money to banks without interest. But then the only problem with that is then how do those banks? It's all about managing risk. If people get free money, they're not going to manage things well. You know, that's the old system, and that's the thing with interest. If you've got market-related interest, it's a mechanism for which people to manage whatever they're using that money for well, so that they can repay it. You see, if you're getting money and it's at zero interest, you're not your willingness to turn that money into a profitable return is not as great, because you know you're just going to keep getting the money lent to you.
Yeah, I want to talk about about the way that capitalism also why I'm not a capitalist and why I'm assuming you're also a capitalist. I mean, there's a lot of ways that I'm also not a capitalist. Sorry. First of all, I find the term. Carry on,
idea behind my idea behind capitalism means this. Okay. In the old sense of the word, it was capital formation, all right, and reinvestment. So somebody starts a business, okay, and they recruit as many resources as possible, be it their own ingenuity, hiring other people's labor, bringing raw materials into an equation, etc., and they create a particular. All those resources are merged together to create a particular good or service, all right, that meets the market requirements. Now, as that product is sold and produced continuously, profits are made on it, okay? Those profits are then reinvested back into the company for more growth. In other words, you're increasing capital. So that's the old idea of capitalism. So you see a demand, you meet the demand, you bring in resources, you test the risks, you weigh up the pros and cons, and once the entity starts making money, you reinvest the whole time, you expand, and that is how a business and everything is formed and what they call capitalized.
Yeah, so
that's the basics of capitalism.
It's being an entrepreneur, essentially. I mean, it's
correct.
Entrepreneurial. It's starting a business, investing the funds, taking the risks, putting the capital in and that sort of thing. So you can't really, I don't get this. Like, I don't understand.
Oh, that's capitalism. That's definitely capitalism.
No. I get it. Okay, but I don't think that Chick Dylan's online horseshoe theory is true. The reactionaries are socialists.
Horseshoe theory. Yeah, I've heard about that one, you know. Yeah, that one. Yeah,
you would be on the show with us if you weren't out getting drunk somewhere or something. I don't know.
No,
Anyway,
he's celebrating. We're busy here talking nonsense while he's celebrating, having lekker times.
celebrating, yeah. So anyway, capitalism essentially, yes, is entrepreneurship and that sort of thing. I don't understand the idea of calling yourself a capitalist. So, for example, the idea of, I'm a capitalist. A lot of people attach some sort of political ideology to it, like I'm a capitalist. I'm like, well, do you run a business? No.
You can't be a capitalist unless you own capital.
Yeah. Do you own capital? Are you constantly at risk of bankruptcy? All these questions and stuff.
Are you taking risks? How much risk are you taking?
How many risks are you taking? You can't just say, oh no, I'm a capitalist because I believe in free markets. That's not a capitalist. You're not a capitalist. It's not how it works. But anyway,
if you're working for a company and you just earn a salary, you are selling your labor to the capitalist.
Yeah. Check birthday bride, Mitchell's Plains, son. We got Dylan there. Legend. What a legend. Okay, so hey Dylan, what do you think about the live stream idea? It's pretty nice, eh? Tell your oaks there in Mitchell's Plain to subscribe to Reactionary Opinions, bro. Those will get reactionary.
Yeah, geez, that's a massive market there for us, man.
Massive market there for us.
Huge. It's huge, but we're gonna have to have Dylan on to promote us, So we can't break into that market ourselves. Dylan's gonna have to help us there.
Dylan's gonna have to help us break into the Mitchell's Plain market. So talking about making capitalism a political ideology is what it's been turned into now. It's been turned into sort of a political ideology. You can't make it, in my opinion, the moment you make it into a political ideology, the people that are attached to that ideology or that are attracted to that ideology immediately turn into economic units. If the entire foundation of that ideology is based around capitalism, okay, so if you say you're a capitalist or whatever it is, it's based around that. Impressive live streaming, working very smoothly. Nice. So if the entire model is based around that, okay, then everyone within that model would then just become economic units, right? Am I looking at this the wrong way?
Yeah. Look, like if you are if you just are from the outside looking in and calling yourself an ideological capitalist, then you're basically looking at it. You're not the owner of production. In other words, you're not owning a business yourself. You're just looking at it from the outside. You're just seeing the numbers, how many employees, value of buildings that he's using, the equipment that he's got, the raw materials he's got on hand. In other words, you're just crunching numbers essentially.
Mm-hmm. But you also,
you're not the one that is. I suppose. Yeah, if you ideologically capitalist, you've also got to try and you should also be factoring in things like whether you can when you make an investment decision, for instance, when big places want to invest in a company or purchase a business, they then are investors, all right, which then they will look at all those sorts of things. But like I say, you cannot just call yourself a capitalist and you're just a researcher type of thing, because then you're just crunching sort of.
Yeah. So Dylan just made a comment which is actually quite good. He said Scott has a point. Capitalism is a tool; it's not a worldview.
Yes.
That I think is the way, because the actual
capitalism is just a way in which to judge something. It's not. It's a way in which you would assess risk and all that sort of thing of a particular entity as an entrepreneur, as an investor, etc. It's not this. It's not like it's not a religiosity. No,
It's not a
no,
worldview.
no, 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 no,
You
no.
can't base your worldview on saying, "Oh, I'm a capitalist," because then all you. But then again, Dylan, you'll probably agree with me on this. Russell, I'm pretty sure you'll agree with me on this. Worldviews nowadays based on total materialism is the in thing now. Like that's cool now. Like to base your worldview on total materialism, which is what capitalism is.
No.
Capitalism is
Yeah.
materialism. So
No, because you're looking at you're basically just looking at numbers in that sense, you know.
exactly, yeah, exactly. So your entire worldview is based upon, the materialism of capitalism. That's basically what it's based upon. You're going to hear a lot of oaks are going to tune us. You guys sound like a bunch of commies and all that and stuff. But no, it's not. We are beyond right and left.
Yeah. Well, you see, the thing is, but there are certain people that claim to be capital are also claim to be capitalist in that they say that they believe that in private property rights, but that's not necessarily capitalist.
No, it's not.
They assume it's capitalist, but it's not actually capitalist. There's been private property rights long before Adam Smith wrote his book on the wealth of nations. You get what I'm saying? Private property rights actually existed back in Bible days, even. So it's not. It's not.
Just look
it's
at the
not
Ten
a.
Commandments. There's your private.
Yeah,
property.
that's private property. Yeah, exactly. So.
But Dylan just made a good comment over here. He said private ownership of capital is obviously superior for wealth generation in society. Obviously.
Obviously, because private ownership of property is everything, So, but that's not that's not a new capitalist thing. That's not a capitalist or communist thing. That's just been around before Adam Smith's Wealth of Nations, or before Das Kapital. There was private property rights. You know what I mean? Yeah. They might not all have existed in every corner of the globe, but they did exist in certain settings and at certain times. So absolutely. That's one aspect that where people say they're capitalist because they believe in private property rights. No, probably, it's not capitalist. That's not a capitalist idea. It is, but it wasn't started with capitalism.
Well, Russell, they don't have a monopoly on all these things. This is the point that this is why if someone had to ask you, Russell, what are your political affiliations? Would you be able to give a straight answer? Would you be able to say, I'm a capitalist libertarian or whatever, or I'm a socialist lefty or whatever? Would you be able to give a straightforward answer?
No, I wouldn't be able to give him a titled answer like that. But what I would say, well, ask me what I think of a few things, and then I'll answer those things individually. Give me 10 questions, and I'll answer them, and then you can judge for yourself where I sit. But I'm not going to give a particular label. I'm past that now. Give me 10 questions that you see as essential to political beliefs or economic beliefs, and I'll answer them honestly, and then you can engage from there.
Okay, so what nice double entendre there, Scott. Speaking of which, Beyond Left and Right just posted a new video. I'm shilling. Can't call me anti-capitalist, you liberal tossers out there. Yes, Dylan's also one of those oaks that is also beyond left and right. If anyone's watching, I think we've got a whopping 2 people watching or something, including Dylan. Go check out Dylan's channel, Beyond Left and Right. It's his new channel. He puts out some seriously good stuff. Very deep stuff for a youngster.
Yeah, he's doing the PJW BPS model.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Black Pigeon Speaks, Paul Joseph Watson, all of those things. He is bringing out that kind of content, but it's rather based and not ready for the liberal-minded people out there. But anyway, Yeah, I mean, look, Russell, with regards to political ideologies and stuff, I couldn't also give a straight answer, you know. And you know,
I used to think I could give a straight answer, but
Mhm.
as I've dived down the rabbit hole, I've decided, no, well, just give me 10 questions and I'll answer them, and then you can decide for yourself.
Yeah. So I think there are a few points that are important to me. So I'm very anti-egalitarian, which I'm sure you are. I don't believe in.
Yeah, you must have hierarchy. You have to have hierarchy.
I don't. There's no such thing as equality. Sure, you know, equality of opportunities and stuff. Yeah, but that's not really the type of equality that anyone is ever talking about when they talk
You see,
about
the thing is,
equality.
people can't seem to get the idea that hierarchy and equality are equally essential things to have at the same time. They can't get that into their heads.
John Pontus just made a comment in the comment section over here. It says capitalism is fine minus usury, and especially all the central banks in the hands of the people other than your own ethnic European Christians.
Even Mitford, tell him about he must watch, but he must read Mitford Goodson. He's probably read that book. Stephen Mitford Goodson.
Yeah, he has one. This is the ringer over here. This is the absolute ringer over here. History of central banking and
the enslavement of mankind. Yeah, that's by Stephen Mitford Goodson. It's a very interesting book, but yeah, he would love it. You know.
You would absolutely
remember?
Do you know John Pontus? Yeah.
What's that?
Do you know this John?
Do I know? No, I don't know who he is.
Okay. Well, thanks for watching, John. I hope that you're enjoying this.
Yeah.
We did actually mention the central banks and all of that earlier on in the live stream, if you've just joined us. But that is that has been a kind of a trend or a tone in the live stream. But thanks for watching. Dylan says, I think political orders vary between nations and should vary. So I can't call my political ideology X at all places and at all times. Yeah, I think
that's very Mosley-ish of him.
Well, this is the thing. There are boundaries and stuff. You see, this is the whole thing. Okay, us as Christians, our worldviews are based around Christianity and are solely molded around Christianity. So, for us, it's quite simple to understand which ideologies are bad and which ideologies are good, because all we do is we just refer to the scripture, we read Christian scholars and all of that sort of thing and see what they thought of it. So it's, for us, it's quite simple. And it's interesting that he mentioned European Christians and stuff, because for us, we have that line. I keep talking about this, but we have that line that we are able to follow, and if we drift from that line, it's quite easy for us to pull ourselves back, because we have that guiding force, or that guiding line. But if you are specifically a political ideology or whatever it is, and like, for example, you're we'll use our favorite one, we'll use a libertarian or whatever it is, your ideology is based on intellectualization and stuff, rather than
it's the same as, in a sense, libertarianism and all these sorts of isms are dreamt up by academics in a university, all right? Just like communism was dreamt up by Karl Marx and what have you. It's utopian. It doesn't actually suit the situation on the ground all the time. There'll be occasions when the libertarians do get it right. You know what I mean? But that's usually because they're not. It's kind of like a hit and miss approach. They'll they'll use it's got enough good stuff in it to work every now and again, a little bit more than it's got more good stuff in it to work a few times. It'll work maybe say 5 or 6 times out of 10, and communism will work maybe once or twice out of 10. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. It's like Dylan says over here, says read Ayn Rand and everything else will be fine, It's like just have free markets and Ayn Rand stories and no. You know what, Dylan, you're listening to this. Last night I was delving because I'm busy writing a page on our favorite topic, logos or whatever, however you pronounce it. I'm busy writing a paper on it, and I was delving into what is anti-logos, and we'd all agree that things like objectivism would be anti-logos. For those of you that don't know what logos is, it's basically the law of the universe. It's in Christianity, John chapter 1 talks about it. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and blah blah blah. Okay, so that was the Word, or the logos, which is the law of the universe. And I was listening to Ayn Rand last night, and wow, what a horrible witch she was, What a miserable woman. Oh, I can't stand her. Real battle axe. But yeah,
were you listening to an audio book or something?
No. I was watching, because she has a lot of these interviews, live interviews.
Oh yes, yeah. She was around. She was big in like the 60s and that sort of thing. She came up with
she made an outrageous statement that really triggered me and stuff. She said that communism was founded on altruism, and I just don't get it. I mean, doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, I suppose I think it was founded on actually on deception more than anything else.
It was founded on jealousy. Jealousy.
Yeah, envy and deception. That's what I think it was founded on. Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe envy is some sort of like weird, abstracted, alternate universe version of altruism. I don't know, but as far as I know, envy is basically the opposite of altruism in my mind. And so I think the thing about Ayn Rand is, and most great minds and stuff, including of our time, current now, including Jordan Peterson, said that he himself said that Ayn Rand just got so much wrong. Like she pretty much got everything wrong. So yeah, she might have been a reasonably good writer and stuff, and even her books are not even that amazing. They're just mildly enjoyable, and the lolberts, they fall over backwards for her, especially the hard atheist ones, because objectivism is Satanism.
I remember the first time I heard about Ayn Rand was when a guy told me, a guy that I used to play squash with years back. He was telling me the story about how he heard about Ayn Rand, and that there were even people back in those days that worshipped Ayn Rand so much, all right, that they even went and got married in the name of Ayn Rand. And no, I'm being kidding. This is what he told me. Whether it actually happened or not, I don't know. And he told me back then, I didn't take too much notice of it. I just kind of shrugged it off because I wasn't interested in these things at that time. He basically said that the underlying principle of Ayn Rand is the virtue of being selfish.
Yeah, that's exactly that's objectivism. That's what her idea of objectivism was, that you have to be selfish. She rationalized that the thinking and worrying too much about other people is a waste of your energy. You should preserve all your energy for yourself. So it's all about the self and like yourself. And she despised altruism. So
Yeah.
you know, okay, here's the thing. Okay, there are varying versions of altruism. I mean, come on, let's not be ridiculous over here. Okay, you know, these hyper or pathologically positive people and stuff that, you know, that just want to help everyone and virtue signal and stuff. Like that. Okay, that's not cool. But helping your fellow man, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, there's nothing wrong with being
No.
charitable and all that sort of thing. But what she thought is that altruism was almost a forced charity. So she thought altruism was something that where you are basically forced to behave like that. So that's why she was very anti-Christian. And it's interesting that Dylan says over here, he says, thing is, like anybody, Rand is right sometimes, wrong on others. Communism was founded on covetousness, so yeah, envy and stuff, and post-Christian heresy, obviously. So yeah, but Ayn Rand, nah, not that impressive, eh?
No, but it's interesting. I remember it now. People were so amazed by Ayn Rand, and they even got married in the name of Rand.
It's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. If I were to recommend anyone some good reading and someone good to read, it would be, in my mind, it would be Thomas Aquinas. And then in your mind, so old church saints or intellectual.
Yeah, although, like I said, you know, some people, there are writers and critics out there. I mean, I always understood Aquinas or Thomas Aquinas as one of the greatest sort of scholars. And then a couple of years ago, I read a book, or I bought a book about, you know, the history of Christian apostasy and how we got to where we are and all that sort of thing. Lo and behold, because what was Aquinas, like 3rd, 4th century, hey?
Yeah.
Lo and behold, one of the first.
I think that was Augustine. That was.
Augustine, yes. I always get the two mixed up. Aquinas, when was Aquinas? 10th century.
Not too sure. Yeah, it might have been. Yeah.
A bit later. Yeah. I get the two mixed up. Augustine is about 12th century. Yeah, 1200s.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, a lot of people credit. Discredit.
The reason why a lot of people give Aquinas a hard time, okay, is that Aquinas was I wouldn't say a fan, but he was a scholar of Aristotle. And what he basically did was Aquinas noticed the logos in Greek philosophy. So the Greeks philosophized that, there we go. Aquinas was 1200s. Yeah, there we go. Got it. The D-dog.
Yeah.
What Aquinas noticed was that the Greeks had also recognized logos, hence the Greek word logos. That's why when St. Peter went and preached, who did he talk to? Who was it that he spoke to? I can't quite remember.
Yeah, it was one of the Greek cities.
Yeah, so the Greek word was in for logos, which is obviously echoing in the beginning was the word and all of that sort of thing. It was echoing Genesis.
Basically, the Greeks had observed what was plainly visible.
Yeah. So basically, the Greeks had. Yeah. So what Aquinas did was he noticed this and he realized that logos, in the Christian capacity of it, had in the form that God is logos. Jesus Christ was the embodiment of logos. Existed eternally, and the Greeks noticed it. And all he did was he basically showed that God's truth existed the whole time, and sort of a lot of people think it was a heresy that he combined the two together. But in this book, was he listed as a heretic?
No, he wasn't listed as a heretic. He was listed as somebody who kind of like, because he tied the biblical worldview. Basically, also his idea, what I can remember from the book, the writer of the book said that he took biblical worldview and he took the natural world, all right, and he said that everything that is in the natural sort of situation, where people come up with that is observable in the natural, all right, outside of Scripture, is actually okay because it's of God.
Sure, and it's eternal, and it always has been, and always will be.
Correct. Yeah, that's where it comes. So he basically said he gave that split, all right, not a one above the other, but an equal split between what is Scripture and what is found in the natural world, which is the way things always have been.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
And he said he basically was the person that said this was not in conflict.
Yeah, but that's
what I can remember.
That's no, they definitely, because that's exactly what he did. Is he basically saw Scripture, and then he saw Greek philosophy, and the moment he kind of put them together, he was like, "Hang on, these things are the same."
Well, I don't think it was. Look, like I said, I don't think he merged Greek philosophy and Scripture.
No. What I'm saying, just listen to what I'm saying, is that he looked at the two and he said, "Hang on, these things are almost exactly the same." He didn't merge them, like he didn't change Scripture.
No. He didn't merge in.
To suit his narrative.
No, he just basically said, "This is the natural world. This is the natural world. This is Scripture." All right.
Exactly.
And he said, "These are not in conflict with each other because both represent Logos."
Precisely.
Okay? The natural world is the reflection of this, so they're not in conflict.
Yeah.
And this particular writer said, which I disagree with, which I thought was a little bit exaggerated. I don't have the book; it's being lent out to a friend at the moment, a mutual friend of ours. But the idea was that this separation, not separation, but differentiation, all right, was the tiny little millimeter by which a wedge was driven into the reason, and the apostasy line started there.
Well, I think it's, well, okay, there are different schools of thought and stuff within the Catholic Church and stuff. So Thomism would be Aquinas thinking and stuff, and I don't know. I find myself a Thomist and stuff, but what that affirms is basically that you can still live out Logos, or at least affirm Logos, without having to be religious.
Yes. It kind of rationalized things. It opened the door to a rationalization of everything. And that's what that is what the author of that particular book said. That little thing opened up a little wedge where 300-400 years later, 500 years later, little increments, and then we had this whole enlightenment. And he basically pinpoints it. Look, obviously you can criticize it, but hey, I'll give him. That's what he's obviously looking for an answer, and that's the answer that he comes to, and he explains why. And it's fair, but I think it's a little bit exaggerated.
I bet you it was a Protestant that the book had.
No, but I mean the thing is it's wouldn't. I mean, how many Catholics also say the same thing about Aquinas?
Yeah, there are certain Catholics that are not a fan of Thomism because of the same exact same.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No,
your hardliners, your hardline Catholics would not be supportive of that.
Mm-hmm. True.
Your hardliners,
not like the Augustines out there. That Saint Augustine was great. Yes, and he was early days. I mean, 320 something. I don't know, but couple of
like, always. One of the things you must realize with whenever they talk of a Christian teaching that comes out, or a particular theological position that gets taken, the very first thing they do that you've always got to watch out for, they call it Gnostic.
Oh yeah, Gnosticism. Yeah, but
They're
Gnosticism.
always every single time that there's something slightly off or something strange or a little bit out there, it gets painted as Gnosticism. So every time you hear that somebody was a Gnostic, just take it with a pinch of salt until you go and actually investigate for yourself.
You still get. I mean, do you? Surely you don't still get Gnostics out there. I mean, really.
Well, in various forms you do. There are guys. If you listen to what some guys actually say, the way they preach and that sort of thing. My idea behind Gnosticism, all right, is that it's a kind of secret or hidden knowledge, that no one can actually even grasp, type of thing. That's my understanding of. It goes beyond. We all understand what mystery is, right? There are. We've all agreed amongst the Christian church.
Mystery is Christian doctrine as well. So
correct. Yeah. So you have to have. There is mystery. We can't deny that. But Gnosticism took things to a level where they kind of mystified everything, and everything was like a kind of a hidden knowledge or a
stars and the universe and this and that. And
so a lot of your how can I put it, your trendy talkers of the last 50 odd years, and specifically the last 20 odd years, a lot of your trendy talkers and that sort of thing are pretty much modern day Gnostics, the way they understand, the way they kind of toss aside orthodox Christian doctrine and replace it with some sort of, you can't even nail it down type of thing. It's like they also blow themselves around.
There was also some weird form of Gnosticism where they basically viewed humans as I can't quite remember, humans as being some sort of divine beings or something that were stuck on Earth. That's also, it's the same things, all sorts of weird hidden things. So everything was like hidden. It was like a hidden knowledge. They were given, the Gnostics were given hidden knowledge type of thing. It's like the Lynn says, it's uber esoteric bullshit. Yeah, so it's definitely massively esoteric crap.
Yeah, esotericism is also like hidden knowledge. That's it. Huh?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So I think we're almost cracking on an hour over here. I think this was an interesting chat. Is there anything else that you want to chat about, quick, Russ?
No. Look, we're gonna end up on Conscious Caracal tomorrow night. So we're gonna be discussing things like what is a reactionary, why the need for reactionary movements, and it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting what Dylan mentions over here. He says the Nation of Islam had and has some kind of semi-Gnostic ideas. Yeah, Islam, I think, also has a lot of...
Yeah, definitely. They also have it.
Ideas,
same with the Hebrew faith, same with the Jewish faith as well. Also got their Gnostic elements,
Yeah, very odd sort of stuff. I guess for us, it was, as Christians, it was all sort of revealed through Christ. So... I don't know. Obviously, we were of the Christian faith is of the Hebrew faith, but I think that all of that stuff was revealed to us through Christ. So there's no need.
Yeah, but I'm saying that the modern day Judaism also has its Gnostic types as well. That would be your Kabbalahs and your that sort of thing as well.
Of course, yeah. No, obvious, yeah. Interesting chat. Yeah. So tomorrow night, we're going to be on Conscious Caracal's show. Remember to listen or watch. This is part of the reason for this live stream and stuff, is just to kind of get used to going live and doing this, because most of our shows, all of our shows previously, have all been recorded. Those of you that have joined us, thank you so much for listening and stuff. Russ, anything else you want to mention? Want to discuss?
Yeah, well, look, like I say, if we do these impromptu live streams, these guys are going to get to know us more. So, So if you
Yeah,
want to
look,
get to know us more, you can listen in again sometime.
look, guys, I think that the general tone at the moment in South Africa is a massive thirst for independent or alternative media and stuff. And we're not the type of guys that are out there to talk about current affairs and news and that sort of thing. What we want to do is we want to help people understand a. This is going to sound incredibly full of shit and like I think I'm something amazing or anything, but we want to get people to understand life beyond politics and beyond left and right, and perhaps give people an idea and an understanding that, you know, life doesn't revolve around political ideals or ideologies and stuff. Life doesn't revolve around you know, hyper intellectualization and stuff. What really makes the world go round is just oaks like us who, you know, have things to say and are here to help each other out. And that's essentially what we've always been about since we started this channel. We started this channel with myself, Dylan, and Russell Brying one day, and just said, you know what, bugger it, let's just do it. Let's just start this channel and get it going. Because because we you just look around you and you see the world you thought you knew crumbling in front of you, and you ask yourself these questions: why does everything look so foreign, and why does everything look so different, and why does everything look so bizarre to us? And this is what we're trying to dissect, and we're just three normal oaks. We don't claim to be some amazing guys with amazing foresight. You know, we're not any Gnostic. You know, we don't have any secret knowledge or anything. We're just, you know, oaks pushing out these ideas to try and help each other understand what it is to live a reaction.
Well, I still, it's good. I mean, the thing is, I still consider us part of the broader truth community.
Yeah, look, I mean, we're not Marxists, we're not commies, we don't support the ANC. Your government 100% hates you. All of these things, we will talk about them, obviously, because they are important things. You know, like I said in one of my videos, you know, politics influences your life whether you like it or not, and it's important to have a leg over politics at all times because, you know.
Yeah, I said to some of my friends, I said, with what went down last month in April over this lockdown and that sort of thing, how I saw people behaving in terms of I've got to start. I mean, I thought to myself, geez, like I need to start a political school or something and give folks training and write a manual or something, because what goes through people's heads is absolutely mad. That's another reason why we've got the channel, is educational as well. You know, you'll hopefully learn something, because we've learned it over the years as well, and we want to share that knowledge with people. So that's why we do it.
Yeah, it's like Dylan said. He said, I wasn't, in the comments over here, he says, I wasn't born a reactionary. The world made me into one. And
well, that's exactly it. You see, that's where the world is now. This is it's like the interwar period, 1920s. That it's so similar to the 1920s 100 years ago. That's why there's reactionaries now, because the world needs it.
If you are one of those people that sort of, you know, will watch the news, scour the internet, go on Facebook, see how people react to things on social media and stuff. And if that all is incredibly foreign to you and it doesn't really make sense, then perhaps you're a reactionary. And and you know, it's not all it means is that you are anti. You know, the description of reactionary on Google is just so pathetic. It's like you don't want any advancement and no.
Oh, that's nonsense. That
it's just absolutely ridiculous. All it means is that you've seen the world around you, it concerns you, and you want to do something about it. Because inside the word reactionary is the word action. Okay? So you can't
reaction,
Yeah, it's a reaction, You can't just sit by and let the world pass you by. You have to speak up about it, Because if you don't,
Scott.
Action. Yeah, that's the thing. If you don't speak up about this stuff, no one's going to do it for you. And the more people that we can influence, I mean, we're a tiny little channel, just tiny little voice out there trying to get the stuff out and to help people, to help our fellow men, make people men. Yeah, that's what Dylan says. The Google definition of reactionary: you hate progress, poor people, and are probably racist.
I love that definition. It's the perfect. That definitions like that are exactly why we call ourselves reactionary, because we're going to get a reaction to calling ourselves reactionaries, which is going to promote us more. So it's
exactly.
you got to do some outrageous things.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to. Rule number 7 in what's that book that Trump wrote? What is it?
The 7 what? 10, 12 what? 10 Art of the Deal.
That's it. The Art of the Deal. That's it. Rule number 7 or something.
Rule 7. Outrageous. Do something outrageous to get it. It's the art of the deal.
But yeah, the logic behind being reactionary is if you wake up in the morning and you see the world and you think the world sucks and everything, it probably does, because yes, the world does suck. It's full of cultural Marxism. All the things that you valued now are shit. Your faith is under attack all the time. You can't be yourself. All of those things. Then you're a reactionary. And it's time that you reacted. This is the whole thing. And the more people that we can get behind this movement of reactionaryization, I don't know, the better.
Reactionaryism.
Reactionaryism. No, we don't want to make this. We don't want to make this into an idea. We make it into an idea.
Yeah, it's not an ism.
Yeah, it's not an ism. Yeah, you can't. It's not an ism, no. And it directly relates to human nature. That's the thing as well. It's not. It's the complete opposite of humanist, materialist secularism. Complete opposite of that. So here's what Dylan says over here. He says, fundamentally, the reactionary mind loves the good, beautiful, and true, and hates to see his society subverted, poisoned at the roots, and wants to do something about it.
100% correct. That sounds very 1920s like reactionary movement.
Yeah, exactly. It's also more competitive than conservatism. I guess that's what you wanted to say.
Oh yeah, no. Look, we basically these days conservatism they call cuck-servatism.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, cuck-servatives. So John says over here, if you're not being accused of racism, homophobia, sexism, or any other ism, then you're not living. And I have to agree with you over there, John. It's also like if you're not being called a religious zealot on a daily basis, you're doing something wrong. Same thing. Same thing.
Okay.
Those are all compliments. But anyway, thank you so much for listening, John, D-Dog, our two best fans. Hopefully when we do these live streams, we will get more notifications. Guys, subscribe, okay? Subscribe to this channel. Share this because this needs to get out there, and hit the bell icon so that you can get notifications, because we're going to blame the fact that we had so few people listening tonight because they didn't hit the bell icon and they didn't get notifications, right? That's
Right.
what
Yeah, that's why we can only get 2 people watching.
Yeah, I think it sprung up to about 3 or 4 at some stage and then quickly dipped. So, but anyway, thanks so much for listening, guys. We'll see you tomorrow evening on the Conscious Caracals show. Remember to watch it. It's going to be a lot of fun. And stay reactionary out there, because
God wills it.
God wills it. Let's end that. There we go.